Call the meeting to order. Roll call, please, Terry.
Brennan.
Here.
Legislator Sharkey has been excused. Dahlhoff.
Here.
Legislator Fawcett has been excused. Halfway.
Here.
King.
Here.
Hauser.
Here.
Mowerhand. Here. Mosher.
Here.
Tabo.
Here. Everyone please rise while the invocation and pledge to the flag. Heavenly Father, we seek your help with our business this evening. Bless this meeting with your divine wisdom and help us to make the right decisions. We pray for consolation to all those who have recently had to deal with turmoil in their lives as a result of accidents, drugs, or any health issues, and especially those afflicted with Alzheimer's disease. And we also have just been requested to keep Ellen Losada in our prayers, who's having a terrible battle, struggling with her life. We have a moment of silence for all the recently deceased. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Legislators should have received a copy of the November 7th and November 15th meeting minutes. Does anyone have any changes at this time? If not, I announce the minutes being approved. Report of the Rules and Legislation Committee for Rule 6. Terry?
The Rules and Legislation Committee is met and they recommend to waive the rules to act upon late resolutions this evening.
Moved by Larry, second by Brian. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And now at this time, we'd take our notice to some of the citizens in our community that have really stepped up to the plate and performed. And tonight we have with us some members of the Beaver River Boys cross country team. And for their outstanding achievements, we'd like to recognize them. But at this time, I'd ask the members that were able to attend to come forward with their coach, Alex Fair. Cassandra would read the proclamation. Legislator Mosher would help me hand out the certificates after the reading. So please step forward. Thank you for coming tonight, first of all. Go ahead, Cassandra.
Proclamation commending Beaver River Central School Boys Varsity Cross Country Team. Whereas the 2017 Beaver River Central School Varsity Boys Cross Country Team won their 16th New York State title on November 11, 2017 under the knowledgeable guidance of Coach Alex Barrett. And whereas the finishing results are as follows for team members: Colton Kempany, 4th, Cameron Smith, 5th, Connor Demo, 16th, Corey Demo, 28th, Josiah Evan, 29th, Braden Combo, 51st, and Matthew Mosher as alternative. Whereas each member of the Beaver River Central School team is a credit to their school, community, and Lewis County, and the Board of Legislators wish to recognize their admirable representation and outstanding performance at the state level. Now, therefore, on behalf of the Lewis County Board of Legislators, I, Michael A. Table, do hereby recognize and commend the distinguished character and achievements of the 2017 Beaver River Central School Varsity Boys Cross Country Team.
Looks like you've got a trophy there to show off too. Can you raise it up, show everyone?
Nice.
Beautiful.
Thanks.
Very nice. Congratulations. Good job. Congratulations to join us tonight.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thanks.
Here, I'll keep
Congratulations.
Matthews,
Okay.
and then that's, Connors.
Okay,
So,
Thanks for coming.
thank
Alex.
you, thanks for having us.
Great
We
job,
really
guys.
appreciate the recognition.
Very good. Keep up a good job.
So the South Louis girls won their state. We'll recognize them in January. But our girls finished second to South Louis in sectionals. And Riley Combo finished 23rd in state for the girls team also. So we had a good showing from Beaver River.
Good.
Job well done.
Very good.
Thank you.
Well, it's going to be boring to some people, so you've got better things to do. Feel free to. Your
Well, we had a
choice.
couple of guys that had to be at basketball games, but they wanted to be here tonight too. But we really appreciate the recognition, and we hope you invite us back next year.
Yeah, you know how to do it. Very
We
good.
appreciate you coming. Thanks.
Also with us tonight, a new member to our team, will be the Director for Office of the Aging, Kelly Hecker. Kelly, stand up and recognize. Welcome aboard. He's coming later. Birch Taylor will be here later. We'll recognize him when he gets here for his years of service. So at this time, we'll open our public hearing for comments on local law introductory number 5, amending and replacing law number 2, the County of Lewis Junkyard Law. Second item would be adding properties to the Lewis County Trail System owned by David and Laura Scadro, Lawrence Williams, Mark Kovac Jr., and Mike and Tracy Harilla. Does anyone from the public have any comments at this time regarding any of the items for this public hearing? Okay, the public hearing will remain open for a while. I'll ask later if there's any other thoughts. We'll go to privilege of the floor. Does anyone from the public have any comment on any subject at this time? Eric?
It's been brought to my attention with the county planning board approving another gas station. When Walmart came here, they wanted to put in like 2 pumps. They got told no because there's too many gas stations within the village. Now, after that, Nice and Easy was able to put in a gas station. Now Tops is putting a gas station in. But underneath that payment, there's a water system that was going to Kraft, fresh water, and it got plugged. I'm looking into why it got plugged. And that can solve water problems with Kraft and within the village. And people are asking why this was plugged and why we are wanting the pumps to come in. And where the pumps are in a bad spot, because this is going to cause problems in the parking lot due to people pulling out of the bank there. If the gas pumps are filled, where people are going to get to when semi-drivers are pulling out that way by the bank, and people are going to most likely start parking in handicap spots because there are only a few handicap spots right there. That pushes all the parking spots for the businesses right there down further, where they had to walk a lot further to get to their destination. If it's Tops, Dollar Tree, or even Verizon. We need to solve it, not create more problems here in the village or within the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Any other comments from the public for privilege of the floor this time? Okay, we'll move along. down to presentation, communications, and notice. Carried.
The New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation informed that the first Lewis County Clerk's Office located in Martinsburg has been listed on the National Register. The County of Chemung Legislature enacted a resolution to support increasing the state appropriation to Cornell Cooperative Extensions. The Essex County Legislature adopted a resolution to honor 2017 as the 100th anniversary of the Suffrage Act in New York State. And the Schuyler County Legislature adopted a resolution to urge the governor to advance funding and expedite completion of the Interstate 86 projects in Broome, Delaware, Sullivan, and Orange counties. And that concludes correspondence.
Okay, thank you, Terry, and also a report of county officers and departments. Terry.
All legislators have received copies of the county treasurer's November report, the November 28, 29, and December 5th solid waste and highway audit reports, and the minutes of the October 10 Community Services Board, November 16 Planning Board, and the November 15 Youth Bureau Advisory Board meetings. And that concludes reports.
Thank you, Terry. And now we go to reports of standing committees. Bill, your final report.
My final one, I'm going to try to continue the process of me being a Bathurstite and use a lot of my Argyle stuff, so bear with me, okay? Regarding IT, the budget's okay. We got updated on the broadband. Mohawk Networks had a joint meeting with municipalities on the 15th, which went very well. And also I've been told that the representative went to the town of Krogan board meeting to let people know what was going on there. By next year, they need to have 50 to 60 towers, repeater towers in the county to satisfy the grant and the need. These towers would be 180 to 199 feet tall. The lease agreements would be 25 years, $2,400 a year to the landowner, and Mohawk would pay the taxes on it. It wouldn't cost the landowner more for the taxes. Also, the new website is up. It's really user friendly. It's going to have ongoing upgrades too, as each department wants to add more or change or whatever. It's going to be a moving document. Regarding real property, their budget is okay as well. And we talked some about having a Facebook page for real property, and Ryan brought up the fact that he and Joan are going to work on a policy for those Facebook pages for all the departments to make sure we're protected with liabilities and that type of thing. Also, the Veterans Office is working with real property to let the veterans, the 49 vets that have a current exemption of $5,000 are getting an increase of $2,500. So they're working together, real property and the Veterans Office, to notify those 49 veterans to make sure that they understand that they can get more exemptions. Then someone had considerable input on the subject of assessment challenges when they're existing pilots. Actually, that someone was me. We have a situation that we have an existing pilot, and also that same company with the pilot has put in an assessment challenge, and it just doesn't seem to me to be right. It's kind of like having it both ways. But there really isn't anything we can do about it. We don't have the means to insist on anything that's already been done, for one thing. The pilot's already written, so we can't do anything about that. And the IDA writes the pilots. So the one thing that we could do, and I would suggest we do, and I would make a motion that we do, requesting the county attorney to draft a resolution for our next meeting. It would state the following: in the opinion it would state our opinion to the IDA. In future pilots or renewals of pilots, language being included prohibiting assessment challenges while the pilot is in effect. I would make that a motion that it's not a binding thing, it's just telling us the IDA our feeling about it. If you guys agree with that, maybe you don't, but.
Okay, that's a motion by Phil. Is there a second?
I would second that.
Second by Craig. Now discussion. Phil, you said a renewal application and new application both.
Yes, but if we're renewing the pilot, it brings it, we're gonna do a new agreement.
Yeah, but
So-
any new one in the future as well.
Yeah. But again, this is non-binding, it's just telling the IDA our opinion.
Yeah, because I can't see how we could enforce that, because the idea is independent and can make that decision for themselves. But I totally agree with you in the philosophy behind it, that if they're getting this benefit of the IDA, of the tax break, then at that point, all other options are closed to them,
Well,
as far as benefits from the county.
pilots are a benefit both for the
Tax-wise.
company and the county.
Yeah, and
You know,
they're
but-
somewhat punitive to the stakeholders in the tax circle, the schools, the towns, the villages that are in part of that.
Right.
I guess I got one question. I'm not against it. If we did a reval on that area, when they're under the pilot program, does that affect their pilot program? Does it increase? So in other words, even if there's a reval done, it wouldn't affect, okay,
The way it was explained to us, the assessed value
Remains the same.
has no bearing on the pilot agreement.
but once the pilot agreement went
Went
off,
out, so,
then it would,
and I'm assuming that that's what they're trying to do, is get their assessment lowered, then when the pilot runs out again, then it's based off of the assessment.
And being that it's just a recommendation of this board, I don't know if there's any legal issues, is there, Joan?
Well, no, but also let's remember that very often the taxing jurisdictions, usually especially for new pilots, are requested to sign term agreements with the developer and with the IDA, and certainly that the county's policy could be brought forward at that time in the whole negotiation of the term, and so that the IDA is aware of what the county's policy is, and I would, we all know what Jefferson County's policy is on pilots. They don't do them very often, so I don't see any problem legally with us putting forth a position like that, so that everybody who comes here looking for a pilot, they know what the county's position is.
I think it makes good sense for our taxing jurisdictions, Phil.
And also, to do this, kind of put something in the record. 4 years ago, we had 6 new legislators, now we're gonna have 3 more new ones, and a new county manager and a new county attorney. So if we did something like this, it would be at least something in the file for future boards and generations or whatever.
Larry, you got it?
I agree with the philosophy of the thing, but I think we also need to recognize that this issue came about because of a catastrophic situation with the decrease in electrical rates, and hopefully we don't have that same situation repeat itself.
Yeah, but that doesn't stop it from repeating itself.
Well, I think if it repeats itself, we need to, look at the situation and try to be helpful to salvage whatever we can out of the industry that's, in this case, in that case, failing.
And also, and I understand the case you're talking about, I think most of us do, that had far-reaching effect on more than just a few employees in one little business in particular. It had extenuating circumstances, and they have to be looked at every time. But I don't think there's anything wrong with the concept that you have in stating that if we give you this benefit, then you have to agree not to, because they're directly taking away from the taxing jurisdiction by doing that, by asking for a reduction in their assessment. I understand them doing it because I would too if I could get away with it.
Well, but
Yeah, I mean,
potentially,
It's good business if you can get away with it.
but potentially it was either get a reduction or close the door, so.
And that's the way we looked at it, yeah. And that's why it was done that way.
I mean, the thing is that good, bad, or indifferent, you know, I guess the thing is, and I still agree with the concept, but do we fight for a little bit and don't have it exist? I think it was the circumstances, because if they weren't able to get something, they weren't gonna be there. So.
Agreed.
Whether we like it or not, it's kind of, I hate to say it this way, everybody still gets a little bit of something, where if they couldn't have come to a compromise, more than likely they wouldn't have been there.
And that's a
Speaking
difficult thing,
honestly.
Jerry, to assess.
Yeah.
well, let me
Because,
be clear, Jerry, I didn't have any problem with the renegotiated pilot.
No,
And I don't think anybody,
And I agree with-
everybody agrees with what you just said, and I don't have any problem with
and I
that.
agree with what you're saying. I mean, I think this was kind of and I'm not defending anybody, but it was kind of a catch-22, you know?
Mhm.
Whether you want to do it or not, if something doesn't happen, potentially they may not be there.
Yeah,
Well,
and
the
if-
same situation would have happened here is what happened up to Franklin County and Champaign, because they pulled the same stunt up there. So, and that plant closed.
Well,
So-
yeah, I mean, if you
so-
can't make ends meet, you can't stay in business.
So,
But I don't mind having
Further comments, questions? All in favor of Bill's motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Lastly, I gotta continue being Bathurst guy. Joan said we're gonna have an executive session. I'd like to include in that executive session, the discussion of current litigation, and also include the newly elected legislators in that executive session. That's it.
You making a motion?
Does it have to be?
Not, what we do is at the end.
yeah,
Okay.
you took part of my report.
Yeah.
That's my
You'll be done
Christmas gift to
quicker.
you.
The vet part?
Okay, Rocky is unable to be with us tonight from DSS chair, but Greg or Andrea or Jenny, I know it was a big day up to DSS office. We had the state commissioner Sam Roberts there. Thoughts, Jenny?
Yes, today we were lucky enough to have the State Commissioner of the Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance visit the local Department of Social Services. First time in 15, 16 years we've had a state commissioner come visit us, so he asked about our SNAP and our HEAP, and temporary assistance, our shelter stays, housing, and then had a tour of the building. And we were joined by Greg and Andrea, a representative from Mr. Griffo's office, and Assemblyman Blankenbush's office as well. So, and Brian Pichet joined us. So a nice meeting with a state official, and well received. I did send a little bit of report to Rocky, so I'll let you know a few things that I sent to him. HEAP season opened November 3rd. So far, we've processed 1,479 cases, and we released $907,737 to fuel vendors in the county already this year. So we are much above our target over last year. It is that time of year again to think about cold weather and the effect on people that could potentially be homeless. To remind everybody that we are mandated to house people that are homeless when it is 32 degrees or colder, based on the National Weather Service, including the wind chill factor. So again, we are mandated to do that whether they are in compliance with public assistance requirements or not, and that is to keep people safe that could potentially be outside. So I encourage the public, if anybody knows if anybody is living in a car, a shed, a storage unit, something like that, to please call the Department of Social Services. We're required to outreach and offer assistance for that. Partners helping us is Lewis County General Hospital, the village, the state, and the Sheriff's Department as well. The police and law enforcement act as our sentinels looking for homeless people. So, to that. And I wanted to let you know we have a Work for Success program coming in for the Department of Labor, 1 day a week into our One Stop. And we have a gentleman, Ron Germain, will be here 1 day per month. And Work for Success is helping people with a past criminal conviction finding employment. His expertise is in working with people with criminal background. Please call the workplace at 376-5800, and you can make an appointment to see Mr. German next time he's here. Thank you.
Good, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, just 2 events to announce from Office for the Aging. Friday, 12:15 is our Christmas luncheon. That's going to be at our meal sites across the county. If you want to participate, you have to RSVP to Molly Millette by the 13th, December 13th. Andrew, you can do it?
Sure.
And then this Wednesday, we have our Christmas movie night at the Town Hall Theater at 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock. The movie is Holiday Inn.
How'd you know that?
Because I'll be working.
Have you got popcorn?
Yes, I will.
Good. 1 o'clock, man.
Yes, it is, 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
I wondered that when he said night, 1 o'clock.
Really?
That's not that time.
Ryan, that dinner's the 14th. According to Molly's.
Email? Did I write it down wrong? Yep. Okay, 14.
Reservations by the 13th, maybe.
Yeah, 14th is a Thursday, so you're right. I wrote it down wrong. Well, I got it in my calendar wrong, so.
At the end of Rocky's report, we'll move on to Brian, county officers, veterans, junkyard HR.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I really don't have much. Quarterly report wasn't given by veterans. That'll be first of the year. War didn't have anything different with us with junkyard. Everything is still in court with the junkyard. We have the new revised junkyard law. Everyone should have had a chance to read that. And like I said, Phil took part of my thunder. We're having an executive session on a contract negotiations at the end of our regular meeting. And they also received everyone should have received a copy of a policy change. So that's it, Mr. Chairman.
Very good, thank you, Brian. Jerry, courts and law.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We've been, talking to the DA. She's got some valid points and stuff like that. We're trying to get information, make a good decision one way or the other. Ryan's reached out for more information. And Dick, I think, we're gonna take our time to make a good decision. Probably will carry over after the first year. And once we get information, we'll sit down with fellow legislators and go from there. Radio project, progressing along. I am not sure. They were supposed to be scheduled for Monday to put 2 antennas up that we were lacking that needed to be changed out. That was Lions Falls and number 3 that went from 5 dB gain antennas to 8.5. Hopefully that'll take us where there's a little cyclonic noise and background noise to even better than we are now. The last changes been whole good. The reports we're getting are that everybody understands what comes across to them, what they need to do, where they need to go. So we're there. We're in the contract with working on that for an overlay and our interops chance. Maybe by the 21st we'll have the contracted information and go from there. That's all I have right now.
Very good, Jerry. Larry, economic development?
Thank you. I'm not gonna give a report. I've got several resolutions in the packet, so I'll save time for the discussion on
Okay, very good, Larry. Craig, Ways and Means.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Not a great deal to report. Every department is in line with their budgets going forward. Sales tax are up a little bit, looking good. I think there's a resolution in the packet today provided by Mr. Hathaway that is recommending we take a surplus of $200,000 and put it over into contingency. That's a good
Bless you, bless you.
That's from IGT.
Yeah, from IGT. But I think it's good. Thank you. Buildings and grounds, Travis reported that they're nearly completed with all the upgrades. They're doing extensive upgrades to the public safety building. They put a new blower motor in the sign shop office furnace to give them heat. Thank God, it's gonna get cold. And he confirmed to me that the Sally gate up at the PSP is now working properly, fully functional. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mr.
Okay,
Chairman.
very good, Craig. Greg, Transportation, Solid Waste.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's going to be fairly short. From the highway end, Sears Pond Road construction project is done. The crew spent quite a lot of time on the number 4 road over by the Petrie Road because a sluice failed, the culvert failed. And it was 22 feet deep and 120 feet long. So spent 6 days working on that project to complete it. They had a DEC inspection on the Martin Street Road pit, and that all went well. Dave is home, doing well, still in pain, but he's recuperating. As far as solid waste, everything's going well there. Pete's requested to purchase a 50-yard compactor box, and he got permission to do that. But he's having difficult time finding a 50-yard box. But we had he also gave us the tonnage for recycling and for trash, and they're both up. And so everything seems to be rolling pretty well on the solid waste end of it too. So that's all working well. And then I have some information to bring forward. One was the Martinsburg Historical Society is since the First County Clerk's Office was registered as a historical landmark there, that does need some repairs, and they're requesting the county possibly give them a hand with financing some of the repairs. The total cost of the repairs for the work would be $20,000. They're not asking for $20,000, but they are asking for the county to help out, since it was the county's first clerk's office, and they've gone through a lot of work on that building to get it registered. So I think possibly the county should come up with some funds to help them with the repair of it. So that's going to be a request. I don't know if we can do it in this year's budget or if we have to put it off till next year.
I suspect you'd be able to do it now, but maybe
Wait till
next meeting you'd have
next
some
meeting.
time to think about exactly
How
how much,
yeah,
where it would come from.
possibly.
Talk with Eddie or Ryan.
Yeah, and then I had a call from Tyler Jones. He's the highway superintendent for town of Martinsburg, but he's also the president of the Highway Superintendents Association. And he was just asking the question about what our revenue was from ATV and snow sleds, how much revenue generation is being seen by the county, because possibly the county could foresee possibly funding a little help to the highway departments in the different towns that have open roads, because like you said, when the groomers go through and they groom the town road, they bring it down so it's nice and smooth and flat and like a racetrack. He said that's also driving the frost deeper, and he actually has there's repairs. He said they're not looking for a lot. He says so much per mile of road that they have in the system. He said if we had 25 miles and you said you'd give us $100 a mile, he said $2,500, he could buy 25 loads of gravel. I think that's something the board ought to think about, because we are using the town roads they see benefits too, but not as much as we do probably. So that's just a question he had, and I'm bringing it to the attention of the board so possibly get an answer.
Well, we can talk about it in committee.
Yeah.
That's the end of my report.
That's a separate vote if I can have that description.
Sure. Yeah, I'll write it out. That's my hand scribble on there.
Send him an email.
Okay, thank you, Greg.
Yep.
Dick is unable to be here for the hospital report, but hospital CEO Jerry is here, and I believe you have some things for us, Jerry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Have a document, may I move in? Sure.
Do you want me to pass them out? I can do that.
The document that's being handed out to you is really a reflection of 3.5 months worth of work with the Board of Managers. And, in order to drive our initiatives in a strategic, thoughtful way, we need to be clear as to what it is we are doing, why we are here. There's a statement of the obvious. We're here to manage and operate the hospital, manage and operate the residential health care facility, the home health and hospice, and the physician practices. But in today's healthcare environment, you don't look at independent parts that way and just try to manage them. In order to effectively, efficiently drive and run these operations, you need to step back and look at it collectively. So what is the greater purpose of our work? And the Board of Managers last week endorsed the vision statement. And our health system, local health system's vision statement is, the communities of Lewis County are the healthiest in New York State and America. Now that's one of those far-reaching visions. But I think we come to work believing every day we can achieve that. In order to achieve that vision, we have to come to some consensus on what is our mission. And our mission, as voted on by the Board of Managers, the Lewis County Health System is committed to working cooperatively with interested individuals and organizations and helping the people of Lewis County and surrounding communities in achieving their highest level of health and wellness. That's ambitious, but I think completely doable with the local health system that's been developed and built over the decades. So to that end, what are some of the things we've been working on? We've seen an increase in patient access, specifically to primary and specialty care. We have seen stability in our surgical practice, specifically with the addition of Drs. Baker, Cowan, and Tamar over the last several months. We are making progress in stabilizing the orthopedic practice. In fact, in January, we expect another orthopedic surgeon to join us in this community. In fact, the surgical volume has increased. We're now working with the various teams at the hospital to increase another OR day. And, in my world, increased surgical activity is very beneficial to the bottom line. We're evaluating adding a new surgical service, and that's laparoscopic hysterectomies. The days of making a 4 to 6 inch incision cutting through muscle mass will be replaced with 2 little tiny holes and accomplishing the same thing with recovery time, cut by more than half. We're seeing growth in home health and hospice, growth by way of increased access. We're seeing sustained and improved census at the residential health care facility. We also, in the last 6 weeks, have stabilized the emergency department and hospitalist service coverage. So, when you have a collective vision, a collective purpose, you can start driving these operational opportunities. So I am asked, what are the key initiatives? What are the key strategic aims over the next period of years? Now, clearly, I will continue to work with the Board of Managers in refining them, but there are a handful that have surfaced over the last 4 months. We need to drive a culture of system thinking rather than siloed thinking. The way healthcare reimbursement works, sometimes there's an advantage to one piece of the healthcare market, like the acute bed, and driving revenue there, but it shortchanges primary care or home health or hospice. So we need to step back and not penalize the component parts of our system, but look at it as a system and say, what is in the best interest of the user, the patient, so the community member. We need to do a demographic profile of our medical staff, and we need to aggressively recruit primary care physicians and advanced practice practitioners. The reason for that is we have a bolus of primary care physicians who are just a few years away from retiring, and that will be a significant blow to access and experience in our county. So we need to begin planning for that now. We need to facilitate specialty clinical affiliations. And what that means is create an environment where we have specialists coming in from any number of hospitals into the Lewis County General Hospital, so that we have local access to high-end specialty care without having to make the investment of recruiting those specialists locally, because we don't have the volume to support that type of access. We need to significantly drive down the cost of employee-independent health insurance for the employees, the health system, and the county. There's active work going on there with my colleagues here at the county and with the leadership of the union. That is a significant event that must be achieved, because if you project out over the next 5 years, the cost of health insurance will be crippling to the local healthcare system. And then last but certainly not least, we need to successfully negotiate a multi-year contract with the bargaining unit so we can stabilize the workforce moving forward. We compete with other healthcare facilities, so we need to be mindful and thoughtful of that as we go through the negotiating process. So tonight the goal was to share the work of the Board of Managers with the new vision and mission statement, highlight some key operational initiatives, but also shed some light into the key strategic initiatives that will be developed in 2018. Do you have any questions?
Jerry, how many OR days do we currently have?
We run 2 rooms consistently 3 days a week, and so we believe we can go consistently 4 days a week.
Really?
Yeah, 2 rooms, yeah.
With hospice, in the past, it seemed like people weren't getting into hospice until close to the end, and the upfront cost is pretty high.
Correct.
And it needed more extended time. Is the time better now? Is hospice
Yeah, so it's on, it's really driven by community education, and there's a local group called the Friends of Hospice who have been instrumental in working with us, the agency, as well as communicating and educating physicians and community members. And once physicians are able to initiate the hospice conversation or palliative care conversation with their patients, it triggers earlier access. And what I've seen over the last three and a half months is a real focus on doing that.
Are you experiencing earlier access?
We are experiencing earlier access and increased volume. Yes.
And the last question was, what are a couple examples of the specialty care you were talking about?
So a good example would be a stronger presentation of cardiology. They're here a couple of days a month, a couple of days a week. I think it would be great to have stronger presence of cardiologists and to do more of the diagnostic work locally, which will do a couple of things. It will keep other parts of the operation viable and strong, keep the skill sets of our technicians strong, and we keep some of the dollars local. You earlier today heard you heard a presentation on insurance utilization, and we are priced very competitively in our outpatient diagnostic services. So we'd like to see greater utilization of those services. You can do that if the specialists are coming here. The other thing that I've been wondering about is in the behavioral health addiction services, how we might create greater specialty access there. We're still working through that a little bit. We have a drug epidemic in the county, and how can we be constructively part of that dialogue? We have a lot of bricks and mortar. We have rooms. How do we support the local efforts in that area? So those are two that come to mind immediately. And in the orthopedic realm, is there more that we could be doing here? So that's another area.
I got another totally unrelated comment. So if anybody wanted to ask you about the report. Okay. The totally unrelated comment is, and I was going to address this to Dick, but obviously he's not here. But, we're appointing tonight people to the Board of Managers.
Correct.
And I would have liked to have seen someone from District 1 on that list, but I didn't. And I would just ask you to keep that in mind. I know somebody applied, but
okay.
And that's really not your purview, but I just wanted to pass that on.
He probably thought that was St. Lawrence County. Did the guy break?
I think,
Good answer.
since you raised the point, I do think, in the future, I would see that as an opportunity where I should be more involved, because I do have some experience and knowledge as to what are the skill sets for individuals who are on a board of directors or board of managers for a healthcare system. And I respect that it is within your jurisdiction to make those appointments, but I could be someone who might be able to help provide some insight as to one candidate over another candidate. And I do support this notion of we need broad representation from the service area. In the private sector, we refer to it as HSAs, hospital service area, and we would work very hard to make sure we had representatives from all parts of the communities that we serve. So I appreciate your comment.
Well, a few years ago, when Mike and I were involved with the hospital board, there was virtually no one from Harrisville that utilized the hospital. And then, of course, you took over the clinic, you being LCCH, and put in an awesome PA there that everybody up there loves. And so I have to believe that the usage of the hospital from that area is considerably more than it was several years ago. And it might increase even more if we had representation on the board of managers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
And it is Lewis County.
Then how come the troopers from St. Lawrence County are sitting in the middle of your village all the time?
Moving on.
Andrea, Public Health Community Service.
Yes, I have something from Community Services. Transportation is a challenge for those seeking behavioral health and substance abuse treatment. At the 12-12-12 Priorities Council, we will have a panel of transportation providers to continue the dialogue and work on solutions. The Community Services Board would like to recognize 3 of its board members who will leave the board on 12/31/17, and that would be John Waterhouse, Tom Yowzy, and Jane O'Connor. We thank them for their time and commitment to Lewis County. Northern Regional Center for Independent Living will host its annual holiday lunch tomorrow at the First Presbyterian Church. Opiate substance use update. It's Real and its local group on 11/9 held a Narcan training, followed by a short discussion, an informal session from Elise Andre at the Lions Falls Fire Hall. Project Safe Community recently held a craft fair fundraiser. On 11/28, Project Safe Community had their monthly meeting at the Harrisville Fire Hall. They had guest speakers and continue to improve education and information to the community. The Yay Coalition continues to organize in response to the Drug-Free Community Grant. This involves engaging local community members, working with youth to reduce the use of alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs. And the coalition is seeking to interview 2 staff positions. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Andrew. I believe that's it for committee reports. A few moments ago, a distinguished gentleman walked into the room. This guy took a thankless job and held on to it for an amazing 43 years. And during that time, I don't believe I ever heard a bad word said about this gentleman. And therefore, I think it's an honor that he would show up at our meeting tonight so that we could recognize him. It's the Town Supervisor in Watson, Virgil Taylor. Virgil, would you step forward?
Do you want some help?
Sure, yes. Go ahead. Read the proclamation.
Proclamation commending Virgil Taylor, Town of Watson Supervisor. Whereas Virgil Taylor was initially elected and assumed the duties of the office of Town of Watson Supervisor on January 1st, 1974, and whereas he was subsequently and continuously re-elected to serve in that capacity until his personal decision to retire effective December 31st, 2017. And whereas he endeavored to keep abreast of ever-changing developments and related regulatory requirements, and whereas he has spent over half of his life knowledgeably and tirelessly serving in the best interest of his constituents, and whereas Virgil Taylor's perpetual commitment to serve his community is further illustrated by his willingness to confer historical knowledge to his successor in their mutual endeavor to see the nearly decade-long expanding water project to fruition. And whereas his collaborative and cooperative demeanor has served him and his constituents well to accomplish collective community goals and projects during the last 44 years. And whereas the Lewis County Board of Legislators wishes to recognize the knowledgeable and generous leadership of Virgil Taylor as an honorable public servant. Now, therefore, I, Michael A. Table, as chairman and on behalf of the Lewis County Board of Legislators, do hereby record our appreciation and enduring respect for the dedicated service of Virgil Taylor as supervisor of the Town of Watson.
I'd like to thank all the legislators for this honor, and it's been, over the years, courthouse has really stepped up to help me anytime I needed it, and I appreciate it from all the people in this courthouse. And my town boards, I've had some beautiful town boards, and I couldn't have done it without them.
Very good, thank you. For my report, highlight of the month, other than just giving the urgent proclamation, maybe was the time we spent at Fort Drum this past few days. Sunday, myself, Brian, and Dick Chargent attended the holiday social, and the interesting part was not only the socializing, but the afterward, during as the day went on, the general gave a little talk, and I think it was 2 or 3 times he had to mention about the cooperation from Lewis County and thanked us for attending, and so that was very noticeable. And then the follow-up to highlight the event, or to the relationship with Fort Drum, was the meeting today. We held a luncheon that Larry and Ryan also attended, Eric Berker, and learned more valuable information, how much they're cooperating. They pointed out the corridor that they're looking for. There's a certain area that they're like to reserve for their training, for their air training, and they'd like us to recognize it. And I don't see as it's any problem. So far it's kind of northern territory where we haven't got wind development. And now, Larry or Ryan, could you add anything to that at this time? But it was very nice talk and
I would just add that I think that we have established a good working relationship with the folks at Fort Drum, and I give the board credit for stepping forward and being clear on our position, because Fort Drum has been clear on their position from the beginning. And when two bodies can be clear and talk to each other directly, it's amazing the cooperation that we can have. So I see it as definitely a good thing, and I think that we're working towards being on the same page. I think we are on the same page, and working towards some solutions. So.
we actually discussed our interest as well as theirs and coming to some answer to the Doppler radar problems that are the interference from wind turbines. Not that we were going to solve it all ourselves, but we had ideas and questions that they in turn are going to go back and ask and see if we can contribute somehow to that solution. So a very productive meeting, I thought.
Good job, Mike. It's really nice to hear good positive comments about that.
Anything else there that we missed?
No, I think you covered it all. It was an excellent meeting and very cooperative, and I would say that Fort Drum's position, they want to see Lewis County move forward with whatever economic goals that we could come up with, and they will support it as much as they can, and we made it known that we hope to support them as much as we can. That was very good.
Yep. And that's it for my report. Barring any further questions, and I'll go to Ryan for the county manager report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're working on the next levels of expansion with the Tyler Munis system. It's not just accounting, it's not just payroll. We bought this system for its capacity to work across, all of our administrative roles. So we're we're working towards introducing the contract management phase of Tyler Munis. Right now, we have paper contracts that get bounced all around the county in our office mail and end up on different people's desks. This system has the ability to do all that on paperless, basically. So we're trying to move in that direction. And then after that, there's a couple more applications that will roll out, but one thing at a time for Patty and her team. So,
Is this one less intensive for Patty?
Oh, yes.
You just kind of, okay, good.
It's less intensive for Patty, but her team gets dragged back in because they're our Munis experts now, so they keep having to help us with rollout. But this will be more with actually our the clerk staff and the county attorney staff will be more involved in this one with contracts. As Jerry had mentioned, we're working with the union and the hospital to come together to bring some solutions to the table for health insurance. We are working very collaboratively. I think we've had some really, really positive meetings, made some great progress, and I think we're going to have some good proposals to go in front of the board within the next few months here, and with some ideas to roll out when open enrollment comes up again in the spring and early summer. So very optimistic about the progress that we're making there. And as Jerry said, we all have a lot riding on coming up with something there. It's hitting our budget, it's hitting their budget, but it's also affecting the employees and what they're able to take home with these increases. So we all have incentive to work together, and I think that we are working together really well. So that's some good progress. Phil already mentioned the broadband, but it bears repeating that if you are interested in helping, we have a list of property owners that have been targeted for these towers. We know which areas in the county the signal is going to need to reach and be repeated from. So we put that out to each of the towns, and we've set it out to the committee. But if you guys are interested, we can get that information to you as well. Very positive feedback so far from the towns. Mohawk has split their team up into 5 groups so that each town has a direct point person. And I think that is a smart way to approach it. And I'm real confident they've got a lot of work to do, but I think they're doing the right thing, moving in the right direction. So that's good.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Adam, that list that you sent me only had residents on the southern end of the county. I mean, is that all that there was?
There's tabs on the bottom of the spreadsheet.
There's
so
tabs
click
on the
them.
bottom?
Yeah, there's a bunch of different
Oh,
ones.
there were, okay.
If you have questions about
I
it,
must
just
have
give-
missed them.
That's okay, just give me a shout if you
We're continuing our work on the extension center. We've got some really good meetings with JCC coming up. They are talking about looking towards trying to close the deal, get something signed. We're talking details in terms of budget numbers and programming, and those are really positive steps forward. At the same time, we're not taking our foot off the gas. We're not taking anything for granted. So I've set up meetings with Mohawk Valley Community College and SUNY Canton over the next couple weeks. So we're going to get this thing done, and of course we want JCC to be our partner, but we're open to a variety of options. So that's where we stand with that. Business after hours with the Chamber of Commerce is going to be Thursday, this Thursday at 5 o'clock at the Historical Society. The REDC awards are in Albany on 12/13. You might remember that Lewis County ranked pretty well in our region this year, so Mike and I and Eric Berkler and Michelle are looking to head down to that announcement. It could be a really good day for Lewis County. And then just a reminder that our special Board of Legislators meeting is on 12/21 at 10 o'clock. That's it.
Okay, very good, thank you, Ryan.
Yep.
Patty, treasurer's report.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have the balances for this special legislative contingency is $339,154.14. Contingency is $231,972.27. Capital data processing is $116,514.91. Capital equipment, the highway portion is $7,379.85. The county portion is $262,487.84. Sales tax to date, we have collected $9,252,475.56. We are on target to meet our budget and above. Hospital repayment, they are on schedule and they have a balance of $1.3 million. And I have not received the October report for the internal service funds, so I don't have any up-to-date figures there. They are still trying to get the new reporting with the new plans, so that it's taking a while for them to be able to get the October reporting. So these are last month's figures. So if you have any questions, don't have any questions, that's all I have.
Questions for Patty? Thank you, Patty.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, and at this time, we'll go back to our public hearing. Does anyone have any comments at this time regarding amending the local law for the Lewis County junkyard law or adding properties to the Lewis County trail system? Any comments from the public at this time? Okay, I'll announce that hearing is closed. The report of the Ways and Means Committee, Rule 7, Terry.
Ways and Means Committee reports they've examined the claims presented for payment in total amount of $876,226.33 and recommend that they be audited and allowed to remit this claim.
Moved by Larry, second by Brian. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolutions, Terry?
I'll defer to Cassandra.
Okay.
Auditing and allowing claims in the amount of $876,226.33.
Moved by Craig, second by Jerry. Roll call, Cassandra?
Brennan?
Yes.
Dahlhoff?
Yes.
Hathaway?
Yes.
King?
Yes.
Colzer?
Yes.
Morahan?
Yes.
Mosier?
Yes.
Table?
Yes.
Resolution adopting and otherwise treating local law number 6-2017.
Moved by Jerry, second by Brian. Discussion?
Brian, could you read that law to us, please?
Would you like me to read the whole thing?
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Are you ready?
No.
Would you like to summarize it?
This is rescinding the local law to override our tax levy. So we approved a resolution last month and the month before to go over the tax cap, and this is just rescinding it. Did I do well? Oh, this is the junkyard.
This is
Oh,
junkyard.
I'm sorry. No, I didn't get it right. Okay, the junkyard law, I'm sorry. I was reading the wrong one. My fault, sorry.
This is scripted.
Okay, the junkyard law, the main thing that was changed in it is that we may, now if we wanna, the town, or if we wanna go and clean up the sites, we can put it on the tax bill, on their tax bill for cleaning it up. That's the main change in this law.
I personally want to thank you. That was a pet peeve of mine, that we didn't have the enforcement tools, and that we were starting to see blight all around the county. And this, it not only does that, but it also incentivizes our code enforcement to actively write up a report when they see a junkyard that's not compliant. So these are all good things for the county and the property owners, unless you're one of those that are violating the law. Thank you, Brian.
And like I warned August before, once this goes into effect, we're gonna get phone calls for a while, so.
Yes, but people hate a change.
Okay, any other comments, questions on the resolution? Roll call, Cassandra?
Brennan?
Yes.
Dahlhoff?
Yes.
Hathaway?
Yes.
King?
Yes.
Colzer?
Yes.
Morahan?
Yes.
Mosher?
Yes.
Table?
Yes.
A local law introductory number 6-2017, rescinding local law number 5-2017 to override the tax levy limit established by General Municipal Law 3C, aka 2% tax cap for the Lewis County 2018 budget.
And the resolution?
Fixing date of public hearing on local law, introductory local law number 6-2017.
Moved by Craig, second by Jerry. Discussion?
There, I already explained that.
Ask if you want.
I thought that was good of you.
Yeah, wasn't that nice?
All in
Save me.
favor, all in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution authorizing agreement with the Lewis County Chamber of Commerce for ATV permit services.
Moved by Jerry, second by Larry. Discussion? All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution regarding seeker review of a new trails to be added to the Lewis County ATV trail system and declaring no significant impact.
Moved by Craig, second by Larry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution to incorporate Nowak, Descato, and Gagnon properties into the Lewis County ATV trail system.
Moved by Jerry, second by Brian. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution regarding seeker review of new trails to be added to the Lewis County ATV trail system and declaring no significant impact.
Moved by Larry, second by Craig. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution to incorporate Williams, Kovach, and Harilla properties into the Lewis County ATV trail system.
Moved by Brian, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution authorizing and adopting plan governing reuse of community development block grant program income.
Moved by Craig, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution to transfer funds in 2018 budget contingency fund.
Moved by Craig, second by Phil. Discussion? All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
You got one more chance.
Resolution to transfer funds, county clerk.
Moved by Jerry, second by Larry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution amending compensation plan with reference to county clerk.
Moved by Craig, second by Jerry. Discussion?
Is this still filling a vacancy from someone that's out on comp?
Yes, it's allowing her to keep the flow of the,
Is there any idea when this person's coming back?
we didn't get it.
No.
Linda wasn't available to
Not
give
yet.
us an answer, we don't
How
know.
long has that person been on?
We can discuss this in
Okay.
the executive session.
Ryan, this
Yes.
says upon the return of the regular employee, assigned
No,
hours
we've
of the
extended-
temporary will,
No, I know, but we've extended this twice now. This is the third time.
but it says, Brian, it says that when the regular employee returns,
I understand
the
that.
temporary is gonna stay.
Well,
And I was at your discretion.
yeah,
So I was wondering if.
they had this college student working, before working on the dealer plates. So this person is going to be working more hours now that they have the vacancy and we can afford it. When they come back, we want to discuss, very likely, scaling that person back down to their original college internship level, you know.
Which was
Well, they're-
budgeted.
Yes.
Okay, that was my
But there
question.
shouldn't be any discussion.
The extra hours is because we can afford it right now, but when that
Right.
person comes back, we're not going to. I mean, the board can decide, but my assumption is that you wouldn't want to do extra hours because you'd have a whole
We didn't
full-time
budget for
person.
that.
Right.
But it's at your discretion, so you're not gonna go over the budget and what you've got in there.
That wouldn't be very smart, but yeah. I see
Okay.
what you're saying.
Any other questions? All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So Brian Moser opposed. Resolution passes.
Resolution in order with reference to dog quarantine.
Moved by Larry, second by Jerry. Discussion?
This
I
is
just
my
said-
favorite resolution.
Waiting for you to make the motion.
My only comment is, it says
Yeah, go
securely
ahead, Craig.
confined.
What's that?
I have a problem with securely confined. There's many pet owners that are able to control their pet in their yard, and to have to, does this indicate that they have to keep it caged or penned?
So,
Is that securely confined?
Secured, leashed.
I think it
actually,
depends upon the animal and what control the owner has over the animal, so I think,
Craig, out of curiosity, it references some law, you know, 122, whatever it
Yeah, I
is,
saw
ag
that.
markets. I looked it up out of curiosity. If you are out with your dog and have reasonable control over it, that, you know, they
Okay.
count that as part of it, so.
Any other comments? All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution authorizing and adopting a spontaneous volunteer management plan for disaster conditions in Lewis County.
Moved by Larry, second by Craig. Discussion? All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution appointing a member to Lewis County Ethics Board.
Moved by Andrea, second by Brian. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution appointing member to Region 6 Fish and Wildlife Management Board.
Moved by Phil, second by Craig. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution appointing member to Region 6 Fish and Wildlife Management Board.
Moved by Larry, second by Craig. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution for snow removal on county road system for the year 2018.
Moved by Jerry, second by Craig. Discussion?
What's the dollar amount per mile?
I don't know that off the top of my head. Do you know that, Lynn?
It's in the
Do you
neighborhood
know
of
that?
$5,650, isn't it?
Yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood.
I don't have that answer.
Any other questions that can't be answered? All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution for maintenance on the county road system for the year 2018.
Moved by Andrea, second by Craig. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution appointing member to Lewis County General Hospital Board of Managers.
Moved by Andrea, second by Craig. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution appointing member to Lewis County General Hospital Board of Managers.
Moved by Andrea, second by Brian. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution appointing member to Lewis County General Hospital Board of Managers.
Moved by Andrea, second by Greg. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution to transfer funds human resources.
Moved by Brian, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution appointing members to Office for Aging Advisory Council.
Moved by Phil, second by Andrea. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution to transfer funds Office for the Aging.
Moved by Andrea, second by Craig. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution authorizing agreements between various contracts for outside agencies.
Moved by Jerry, second by Andrea. Discussion?
I'd like to
Larry.
make an amendment to include the Lions Falls Historical Association $4,000 as the rest of them are. We weren't on the list coming in this year, so we sort of got left out. They're relatively new, but they've done a great job down there in managing 2 sites, one a house, one in the back of the drugstore. We've got a lot of middle history, local area history, and doing a good job.
I would second that motion.
And a motion and second to amend.
You said they were left out, so did we intend to have them in there? Is that what you were saying? Or you're asking
Well,
first time?
I'm asking to include them, this year. They weren't on the list last year, so Ryan just, moved the ones that were listed last year for this year. They were relatively new, didn't get in last year either, so, but they're doing a great job.
Well, I mean, whatever happens this year, they need to put their request in.
I gotta admit that I
That's been the policy.
did get a letter of request, I don't know, a month ago, and Rocky suggested there'd one been previous to that, but I don't know where it went.
But
I did get one month ago, and I did talk to Ryan about including it in the budget, and I'm not sure why it didn't get on this resolution, but
Well, Don, the resolution just didn't get in the budget,
Yeah.
so,
it didn't get in the budget.
like Larry said, we just took everyone that was funded last year and moved them forward. Any organization that wants to get in on this and have their letter, send their letter of request, they need to send it in like September, because that's when we start getting those people into me.
can
So,
we send that out so everybody's aware of it? for
That's a
the
good
future?
suggestion.
I think that's a good suggestion because Greg just asked
Right.
for Martinsburg.
So obviously,
They were
these,
asking, so
these
we're gonna do
satellite
it for one, we do it for
agencies
all.
are not aware of our policy. So I mean, we gotta somehow let them know in all fairness to all of them, and not just a select few.
So now, can we amend the budget, or do we have to wait till after the first of the year and pull it out of our contingency to do that?
Well, you can
Because-
do it this time of year, it would just say that it's gonna come out of the 2018 contingency. That's what it would,
Okay, so we,
yes,
okay.
sure.
Would that be a separate resolution, Patty? We would have to,
Right, it has
Not-
to be a
we-
separate, yeah, it wouldn't be part of this one. This is just saying you would do a contract for them. There has to be a separate resolution that would be done at the 21st meeting, stating that we would do a transfer from the contingency fund to a new line item for,
And that would
the-
come out of the 2018 contingency.
yes, the 2018 contingency.
Are you okay doing it that way then, Larry?
I'm fine with
So he doesn't need his.
So he should.
Again, if he wants Joan to do a contract, he could amend this one, I
Oh,
believe.
right. Oh, he's
Saying
gonna
he
need a
wants to do
contract
a
regardless.
contract with them.
You're gonna need the contract too, so we do have to amend this. Okay, so we've got amendment.
Does that
Amendment.
include Martinsburg then?
Sure, why not?
What,
I don't see why
If
not.
we're
They were
gonna do
just
it
looking
one, we
for-
better do it for them all.
they were just looking for a one-time
Yeah, no,
help,
but still,
you know.
if we're gonna hand it out to all these, we gotta hand it out to anyone.
All right, we're Martinsburg, well,
Can I just make a recommendation?
Yeah, let's do that one separate.
Yeah, you could list them all on a separate resolution for the 21st.
Right.
And then Patty can make the,
contract.
transferring of the funds from the contingency all together as well. You know, you could still do it all at the 21st meeting.
So Greg, you're talking about the aid
We'll
to,
put it
to
together.
the
So we
county
don't
clerk's
need to change
original
it.
bill?
Right.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm fine with
Mr. Chairman, can I just make
Go
another
ahead, Joan.
suggestion, Greg, for the Martinsburg? If they want a one-time contribution to
That-
the repairs?
I think that's what they were looking for.
I'm wondering if that can't come out of the 2017 budget.
That's what I thought, you know, pull
And
it out.
not, so that we don't have to
Have
take
that
it out of
budget.
the
So-
2018 budget.
I'd
Right
like
here,
to just
right.
comment on our procedure and how Patty and I put the budget together. These organizations here are organizations that are funded year over year over year.
Right.
So we've got that on the one hand, and on the other hand, we have a loose tradition, whatever you wanna call it, of end of the year expenditures for libraries and historical societies and other type things. So I didn't, in my first year, crack this open for new line item things.
I really, I
Pandora's
think
box.
mine will be a one-shot
So
deal.
we, but I'm okay with it in theory, just that's where our thinking was at.
Is that all right, Ryan?
Yes,
With a
that's-
one-shot deal for Martinsburg Historical
Yes.
Society to help and take it out of that, and the library return too.
Yes, and then.
Say
Take it out of the 2017 contingency,
Yeah.
That
so
makes
no-
more
no
sense
line
than-
item that way.
then affecting our 2018 budget.
My only question would be how many other historical societies are in the county that aren't on this list, that wanna get on the list, like Lions Falls?
well, like Jerry said, in the past, they've had to ask.
Yeah.
Right,
If we, it's not like we publicize it, but we respond to a request.
And I'm sure they will, if they hear that, you know, we're susceptible to
They will.
considering them.
yeah.
Well, the thing
Larry's
is, if
looking
we
for
put,
recurring though, right? Larry's
Yes.
looking for recurring.
Yours is a recurring one, so that'd have to be the 2018 thing, and then budgeted beyond.
yeah, but the thing is, it depends what kind of budget we have, all that stuff may be out there.
Oh, sure.
So,
No argument here.
I mean, it's, if we got it.
Okay, Larry, what do you wanna do with your amendment?
I think I want to vote on that.
He's got a,
Go ahead with
he's
it.
got a motion, and I seconded it,
Okay.
and that's to initiate a contract for resolution for the 21st.
That's right.
Correct?
Okay, all in favor of Larry's motion to amend the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Amendment's carried. Now back to the main resolution. Any further questions or comments on the resolution with the amended to include Larry's request? All in favor of the amended resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Now, Mr. Chairman, do we have to go back and address his?
This is gonna be a special.
No,
Well,
we
it's gonna
can
be-
do that on the
but this will be-
21st.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Okay,
Just to have a discussion on how much.
Right.
Next resolution, Cassandra.
Resolution authorizing reclassification of a vacant position in public health.
Moved by Andrea, second by Larry. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution to transfer funds, public health.
Moved by Brian, second by Craig. Discussion. Jerry?
Got a question, I mean, it goes to Raby's professional service. I mean, are we giving shots and just reimbursing, or why is it, I mean?
I thought that might be more the bait drop type thing, because they took it away from the clinical side of it, moved it to contractual.
Are we back to bait drop? 'Cause I
I'm not sure, but that's the way I
Penny?
interpreted it.
Penny is here.
Are you in on this resolution? We're talking about the rabies professional services, $20,000.
Yes.
What is the $20,000 for?
It's for Lewis County General Hospital. This is, if you remember back this summer, we had 11 people that needed post-exposure treatment for a variety of animal encounters. So some of them needed to be treated at the hospital rather than being able to do it at public health. And so the cost of the vaccine as well as the visit that's not covered by the individual's insurance, public health pays for, no matter where it's done. So we owe the hospital about $21,000. So it's really moving it from our other rabies lines where we would have bought the vaccine directly to a professional service line so we can pay the hospital for having provided that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions? All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution to appropriate funds, trail maintenance.
Moved by Brian, second by Craig. Discussion. All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution to unappropriate funds for social services.
Moved by Andrea, second by Brian. Discussion. All, Craig.
Yeah, I think I heard her mention earlier that we've just outlaid over $1 million to HEAP.
900-something thousand. But this is refunds from vendors for last year's heap season. So if people had moved or passed away, if the payment had already been made, but they no longer needed the benefit, this is the refunds from the vendors, and we pass it back to the federal government.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution to transfer funds, Department of Social Services.
Moved by Andrea, second by Brian. Discussion. Jerry?
I asked what happened, but, for the repairs.
It was just put in the original, resolution was put in vehicle repair instead of vehicle lease. So it's just moving the money into vehicle lease so that we can finish out the year for,
The lease.
for the enterprise
It's not
funds.
repair.
No, right, it
Okay.
was just put in the wrong, because when we originally had the enterprise fund, they said that, they were going to be billing us for, there's maintenance, and then there's the car, and we thought that's the way it was going to come, split like that, and so we originally had put some of the money in vehicle repair and some in vehicle lease, but when it came, it was all together, so we were charging it to the vehicle lease line. So now we have to move it from vehicle repair into vehicle lease.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the resolution? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution authorizing memorandum of agreement between the Department of Social Services and Credo Community Center for the treatment of addictions.
Moved by Andrea, second by Larry. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution authorizing agreement between Lewis County Department of Social Services and Hillside Children's Center.
Moved by Larry, second by Andrea. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution authorizing cooperative agreement between Lewis County Department of Social Services and the County Law Department for child support enforcement proceedings.
Moved by Phil, second by Craig. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution authorizing cooperative agreement between Lewis County Department of Social Services and the County Law Department for purchase of services.
Moved by Phil, second by Craig. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution authorizing the agreement between Lewis County Department of Social Services and the County Law Department for purchase of services, collections, and recoveries.
Moved by Craig, second by Jerry. Discussion. Phil.
John, why does that have to be on 3 separate resolutions, just out of curiosity?
Different funding
Okay.
within DSS.
All right.
Other questions? All in favor of the resolution say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution authorizing agreement between Department of Social Services and the Resolution Center of Jefferson and Lewis counties.
Moved by Jerry, second by Andrea. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution to appoint member to Soil and Water Conservation District Board of Directors.
Moved by Larry, second by Craig. Discussion.
You didn't want to be that?
Nobody asked me.
There you go.
Let's vote on it. All in favor of the resolution say aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution authorizing renewal agreement between Lewis County, Bernie Bus Tours Incorporated, and NYSART, Oneida Lewis Chapter, and Upstate Cerebral Palsy for 2018 Lewis County Public Transportation System.
Moved by Craig, second by Jerry. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution authorizing and adopting the Lewis County Human Services Coordinated Transportation Plan.
Moved by Craig, second by Jerry. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution to appropriate funds bus operations.
Moved by Brian, second by Larry. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution authorizing acceptance of bid and purchase of a 2018 RAV4 hybrid SUV as the Lewis County Transportation System Mobility Management Vehicle System by utilization of the county's 2015/2016 ATC grant funds.
Moved by Craig, second by Jerry. Discussion.
What's and I'm okay with it. I'm just curious what the use of it is and who's gonna have it.
You wanna take that, Brad?
Planning.
Sure. It's ATC funds, it's Accelerated Transit Capital. It's funds that we've been building up since 2015 that we're able to use to purchase the vehicle. It'll be specifically for transportation for our, myself and our planner to go around, do education, to follow, do the inspections on the buses, check the routes, make sure that all signage is where it's supposed to be, make sure our bus shelters, when they're built, are well maintained. So it's an ongoing, basically a vehicle that we're going to be using for our operations, for our transportation operations.
Pretty much exclusively by the planning department.
Exclusively, that's the way the funds are set up. They're DOT funds, so it has to be exclusive to transportation and planning.
Okay.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments? All in favor of the resolution say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
You didn't get an electrical one, did you?
He wants to be able to get to Syracuse and back in one day.
We've all learned.
Oh, sorry, Derek.
Resolution authorizing county treasurer to correct errors on tax rolls.
Moved by Craig, second by Jerry. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution authorizing the county treasurer to make necessary budget transfers.
Moved by Craig, second by Jerry. Discussion?
We're still gonna get what transfers we've done, so we understand how the budget works.
They won't come to the board, but I always keep a list of them. Because this,
Right, but
Right.
I mean, with the budget we have, unless we see those, we have no idea how it close out at the end of the year. Who needs
Right.
money? So it helps.
I just keep the list.
Okay.
That's what I do.
But we can come down and
Oh,
talk to
yeah.
you. Okay, thank you.
Other comments? All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Re-levying unpaid school taxes and village taxes on assessment rolls.
Moved by Brian, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution authorizing the supervisor of each town in the county of Lewis to add to their tax warrant the 2018 county tax proportion to each.
Moved by Craig, second by Larry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution directing Lewis County General Hospital to reimburse penalty imposed upon the Lewis County Self-Insurance Plan for late filing of a claim.
Moved by Craig, second by Jerry. Discussion?
Yeah, I gotta ask this.
Go ahead.
Are we not somewhere communicating and it's taking them longer to get it because they've been paying quite a little bit of stuff for reimbursement? I mean,
They've been working on the problem.
they're still working on the
yes.
problem. Okay.
This,
Kinda like
this
a
happened
billing
to be one claim that got, the person did not report it and,
Okay, thank you.
it kind of fell through the cracks, I'll say.
Other questions? All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution to unappropriate funds Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act.
Moved by Larry, second by Andrea. Discussion?
This piece of paper costs more than the
More
money.
than enough.
7 cents.
There's enough of it here, we could put a penny a piece in.
And balance the book.
Do you have any comments on this one, Bill?
Extensive ones.
Don't wanna pay it?
I believe I've gotten emails on a penny, so.
All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
But I was right.
Carried.
Resolution to transfer funds Workforce Investment Act.
Moved by Jerry, second by Larry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution to appropriate funds Workforce Investment Act.
Moved by Andrea, second by Larry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution authorizing agreement with New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services District Attorney aid to prosecution.
Moved by Larry, second by Craig. Discussion?
This is a grant she applies for every year.
By the way, these are late resolutions, so. Okay, this is a grant we apply for every year. All right, any other comments? All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution amending compensation plan with reference to Lewis County General Hospital.
Okay. Nick's not here to explain it. To convert a part-time CNA to a full-time CNA and 3 full-time radiology technologists to full-time CT technologists. Any comments or questions on it? Go ahead, Jerry.
The, on the imaging one, the 3 in radiology, that's
Chairman,
actually,
I'm sorry, you haven't got the resolution on the floor yet.
Okay, oh, you can talk. Moved by Jerry, second by Larry. Now discussion. Go ahead, Gary.
All right, thank you. On the radiology one, those are individuals who are cross-trained and certified in many modalities. So it's basically compensating them at the level to perform their job with, CAT scan, MRI, and ultrasound, and general radiology. So that's that adjustment. I don't know the details specifically for the CNA that's going, the CNA position full-time to part-time, part-time to full-time. What I can tell you is we've had an organizational commitment to manage the casual number of employees in the system as a strategy to lower our costs with overtime. And so part of that is retooling part-time and full-time positions, and I believe that's what this one is about. So I can bring additional information if that would be helpful tomorrow.
Jerry, this one is specifically for the CNA that's assigned to the Adult Day Health Care Center, moving them from part-time to full-time due to an increase in census.
Due to what?
Increase in census. There's more people attending Adult Day Health Care.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions on the resolution? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution to transfer funds planning.
Moved by Larry, second by Craig. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution to amend the county's policy for closing county facilities in the event of inclement weather.
Moved by Jerry, second by Brian. Discussion.
What's this one all about, Brian?
What's this one all about?
So if we get so many inches of snow?
No, the policy in there says that there's a paragraph in the old policy that allows department heads to let people make up the day if they can't make it into work, and we're eliminating that.
So we're gonna have to take personal
They'll
time?
have to take personal time or vacation time. And I don't want to force anyone to come into work, but our employees get enough time off that they can do that.
Any other comments, questions? All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Opposed, show Phil Hamway opposed. That's it for the resolutions. Our other business, we need to set the next date for our final meeting, proposed December 21st at 10 a.m. We have a motion. Moved by Jerry, second by Larry. Discussion on the date. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Now, any other business to come before other than executive session? Motion to go into executive session for an update on union negotiations, assessment challenges. Moved by Jerry, second by Craig.
I want to make an amendment to that to allow the 3 new electees.
That, yep, we figured out that.
But we had to put it in the motion, didn't we?
I think we did. Said something about it.
You need someone to
Move it. Move it by Brian and then a second by Larry. All in favor of going into executive session, allow the 3 new members to attend, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll go to executive session, we have a 5 minute recess.